We're talking to Freyiia, who is an astrologer, and then again, not. So I will leave you to it because you have a lot of questions you want to ask, and we have a lot of things to uncover.
We talked to Freyiia Goldsmith the other day, and I wanted to ask her some questions, and I felt that maybe she didn't understand what I was saying because it was not her field. And then I thought, but I really want to ask those questions. And then I woke up and saw your video, and I've been following you for the past 2 years, and you're making astrological weather forecasts. But now you're telling me you're not an astrologer. So what's that all about?
Yeah. Yeah, as I just told you, I've been working in the field of deep psychology, trauma work, coaching, mentoring, spiritual, whatever, for many, many years. And just a couple of years ago, when I went through my own dark night of the soul, my father passed away. That was a very tough journey we had together. And after that, suddenly I was just in Bali. I don't even know how, and I was there, and I went through some training, shamanic training for yoga and shamanic breath work, and then just shamanic astrology just dropped into my field. And I'm not educated. I didn't go all the way, but it feels like it just pushed some intuitive buttons in me. And after that, I've been able to kind of speak a language that I think I have spoken for many lifetimes, and I have no idea where it comes from. So it's like very intuitive. And as I say in all my videos, it's like, this is just my truth. Take what you can use and leave the rest, because, I don't have any facts that I will, say this is scientifically or this is proved. I don't care even. I don't care. This is just how I feel the world, the energies, the cycles. And a lot of people seem to really get something from that when I just open up and let it flow through me. And often I get, when I hear myself talk in front of these cameras, I don't even know what I'm saying, because it's not my everyday conscious person that is speaking. It's just like a channeling of whatever. And yeah, so, and I do it for like 2 times a month, for every new moon and full moon, because that's just some kind of a pattern I can follow. And it just makes it easier for me also to get some kind of a frame around it, because it is so formless and so huge. And so yeah, so that's what I do now. And then I do a lot of retreats with people, diving deep, shadow work, trauma release and stuff like that. But the other is just new. It's like it just popped out of me at some point.
Yeah, I never heard about shamanic astrology. I heard about the Western tropical, and then the Eastern or Indian, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, exactly.
How does it differ from, like, or how does it, like, the way you use it, how does it differ from regular astrology? Like, we've all had, many of us had a horoscope laid out, and it's like, so this is going to happen and this is going to happen, and well, like something will happen around that point.
Yeah, that's not at all how I work with it. I don't want to use my energy like that, because it's with, some other can do that. That's fine. But for me, it's like, when I look at a person's birth chart, it's like the first second I look at it, it's like the planets where there are the most energy in that person at this time with their own processes are lighting up. It's like, okay, this person is at this time working with their inner wound. So I can see Chiron like the first, and sometimes like, where does this person have Venus? And sometimes I cannot find Venus, and she's right there, but I can't see her. And then I know, okay, that's like a message to me that this person really needs to open up for the feminine, because it's like my eyes, it's like I go into some kind of it's so difficult to explain, but it's like it's talking to me. It's like just energy. To me, everything is just energy. And when I look at a birth chart, I just see these planets as energy moving. Someone is lighting up because there's a lot of energy. Someone is almost hiding because I see, oh my God, there's a blind spot here in that person.
Okay.
So it is some kind of an intuitive channeling. And when I look at the chart for the next new moon and the next full moon, it's the same. I just see some patterns, something is moving, and then it leads my thoughts to some kind of theme I'm talking into. Or so actually I don't think I do readings like astrology does. It's just like the chart is just like the door into a deeper layer where I can meet this person's blueprint on a soul level. Let's say it in that like that. Yeah, if that makes sense. It's like,
yeah, it does. It sounds so exciting, and I'm thinking about my own birth chart right now. It's like, yeah, I want you to look at it, but then yeah, it's because it's like only the half of the chart. I have all my planets. Just it looks really weird.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
and because one of my questions I wanted to ask was, whose life is it anyway? Because when I talk to other astrologers, I know that they can look at my horoscope and just pinpoint when I was married and when I had that big move to China and when I had my first child. And you're saying that all the planets and the stars, they're opportunities we can grab. But if you can pinpoint certain events in your life, then have I this free will? And I wrote a comment under one of your videos because when you're talking and you're saying what you can see going on in the world, it correlates to what is actually going on, and you're not surprised by it because it just fits together. And I wrote, well, at least we know that those in control, they use astrology because it just fits right. It's like clockwork. Now there's a new restrictions. Now there's a lockdown. Now it opens up again. And it's been so much fun.
Yeah. And we can talk into this question for days, for weeks, the rest of our lives, right?
Yay!
No one has like the final answer to that question, but it is what my mind is very much, how should I put it? To me, because that's just my truth, right? To me, it's again, everything is just energy. And I was just out going for a walk a little before we should have this talk. And I was shown in a picture of like a chef doing like a dish. And we have these ingredients that we're putting in it. So say, okay, we have all these ingredients and we use those ingredients. So if those ingredients are for some kind of a hot dish, then we cannot make a salad out of it because then there's some kind of ingredients that are in, no matter what we do with them, they will turn out in a way that we can like imagine before we do it. And that's the same with the planets and all these charts. It's like we have our free will as I see it. We can, every day, every second, you have a choice. You can go right or you can go left. You can say yes or you can say no. You have a choice all the time. But somehow you're made out of some archetypical vibrations that we call like the Leo or the Libra or the Sagittarius, right? But to me, those are just names for a vibration, like a color. We could call them colors. It's like it doesn't matter because it's some kind of an ingredients. So when we look at the chart, it's like, okay, we have this chart, we have these ingredients, but how does it turn out? That's up to the chef. What kind of a dish can we make out of these? And that's where I see, yes, we have our free will all the time to do something with these ingredients, but we cannot choose other ingredients, but because we came with something, and that's not up to us. I think that was actually a good picture of it because we have this creative, choice all the time, and someone could make a perfectly dish out of those ingredients, and some other person could fuck it up totally, so it was
Yeah.
because it's all about the balance. And I could talk about this very much, but it's like, how can you put it into a picture that like makes sense in some way? So, and then I will say, I think that we have some soul contract, should we call it that? So if we are meant to have a child in this lifetime, then I think that if we maybe refuse to have that child, and we have like, oh no, it's not now, I'm not ready, then the universe can somehow start push us. We can get more signs, more like, it's like this forcing power that, maybe you get an abortion, it's not now, then you just get pregnant again, again, and one more, it's like sometimes the signs and this push from the creative force, from life force energy, gets so strong, so we just have to surrender to it, because it's like the will of life itself. Or does it make sense?
And the other way around, if you really want a child and there's just not a child coming through.
Exactly. And I see a lot of charts. A lot of people ask me to look at the charts of their children, and then when I see family charts, it's so obvious how we incarnate together, and that our children are our teachers. They are so much our teachers. All the time I can see that if you have some kind of archetypical school, mystery school, that you are here to like learn how to engage with, then you get a child that have mastered that archetypical, that somehow bring it into your life to be a mirror, so you can unlock that code in that archetypical mystery, because your child is having it embodied in some way. So again, free will, but with some ingredients. And as I usually say when I start a reading, I say, okay, right now I get this feeling that I'm just like a humble, it's like if I were sitting with your chart, I get this feeling that I'm sitting with you as the human person you are now. And then on the other end of the string, I have your higher self. And that you, before you incarnated into this lifetime, you knew that you were going to forget everything about who you are, because that's like how it is to get here, right? But you kind of made this map for yourself, like the chart is a map that you planned and made for yourself, and you gave it with you. But the first problem is that we haven't learned how to even read it, and what does it mean? So when I open up for that, it's just like, I'm facilitating a talk between you, your human self, and your higher self through this picture that you made for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's just my intuitive, I don't think any astrological school would say it like that, but it's just how I feel it, how I see it.
It sounds true. It's so interesting. Like there's this big movement, at least what we see from a lot of people that used to be in these esoteric directions, new age stuff, and there is a lot of not so good stuff over in that, but then they flip completely over into this Bible Christianity, and again, there's so much good there. I personally believe in Christ, and I believe there is a God or source, or what you want to call it, and it's a very powerful force in my life. And when I tap into it, I feel it's all encompassing love. But they do this flip where like everything that is not the Bible is then suddenly becomes evil, and it's some of it's, there is some, let's say there is some evil stuff, but a thing like astrology where you're just like reading a map. It's like a map is not evil, a hammer is not evil. If you take the hammer and you bash someone in the head, then you are evil for doing that, but the hammer is not evil.
No, you can build a house for your family with it.
And it's like And the same thing with astrology. Astrology, like, it can be used, like it is obviously being used by those that seek to control us.
Yeah.
It's very obvious that that's what they're doing, but we can use the same tools for very loving and creative, powerful things, and understanding and healing wounds and all
I
this.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. And you know, when you say that, it's just, I get this thought, maybe we can turn it upside down and say, yeah, they use it, or maybe they are like us, forced into some kind of creation of stuff that is just meant to happen at that point. So I absolutely believe that they are following along and that they understand it as a tool. But I also believe that they are also just humans, and they also have these inner, you know, the life force energy is pushing them as it is pushing us. I don't think anyone is above that. Actually, I don't think that.
I don't think any of us could discover the true light and the creative force and all this without having that darkness to play up against. And the reason it's coming so much to the forefront now, even though a lot of people are closing their eyes to it, is because it has to happen right now. This awakening has to happen right now. It's been planned this way.
I very much agree.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of bad saying like awakening or awake, but it's that is how it feels. It is how it feels.
Yeah.
Like suddenly, whoa, how come I didn't see that before?
Yeah.
It's so
obvious.
Like
some new, like you have a house and suddenly you discover there's a door, like suddenly there's a door that you didn't used to be a door, and you open it and there's a whole new room in the house that you could swear wasn't there. Like when you say, like, you can't see Venus in the chart, and boom, suddenly it's there.
Yeah.
It's been there all along, but we couldn't see that door. Like Katrine, when I came home and told her that Mette Frederiksen had declared a lockdown, something just snapped, like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life.
Yeah, this is it. Great, let's go to work.
Yeah.
But what I'm supposed to do, I don't know. Let's listen to Freyiia.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I agree, you know, that this voice within me also, all these videos, all this, it started with the first lockdown. That's actually where my video flow started, because, okay, some kind of guidance wants to come through me now. But before all that happened, I don't think I would have ever done it. It was like, that was the push that, oh my God, I really have something to share. And I was terrified in the beginning to just push the button and talk to that camera, because I've never done that before. But I had no choice. Again, back to the, you know, the energies of yeah, we have free will, but the life force energy is like so much stronger. And when we can surrender to that, then, you know, we can manifest all of our dreams. But if we try to manifest our dreams from the ego, you know, we have to fight to get there, and we have to work hard, and we have to, then it will always just fall apart in my world, because it's not made by life itself. But if we can surrender to life itself running through you, like every plant and every tree and every flower, you know, it is coming from the soil and finding its way up and blooming at some point. That's what we have to learn, to surrender. We cannot force that cycle of life, you know. We cannot force when something is ready to bloom or when it is not. And sometimes we just want it to bloom now, and we're trying to open that flower, but then it will die.
But we cannot become a rose if the blueprint we were handed was from a dandelion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it is that simple in my life. So actually you can say, what is it that I help people with? To surrender to their blueprint, because that's where you can find magic and abundance and everything you ever could imagine. But if you don't understand that, and you're constantly trying to force yourself in another direction, then life will stop you again and again and again. To, like, you know, I speak very much about light and dark and ego death, and because that's what I see is going on all the time. Every time we try to force something in any direction that is not natural for life force energy, then we will meet this hammer from the universe to say, hey, you get back, get back in line. Because, and it's not because some big evil guard is saying no, it's just because it's not flowing. I will talk about water just before, right? Water is intelligent, life is intelligent, energy is intelligent, everything is just a flow, and our job is to find a way to find that flow within us, all the layers, all the masks, all the traumas, all the stories, everything we have ever been told that is not coming from in here. We have to go through that long phase of life where we're like getting rid of it, and then we can start to feel that inner humble, fine, strong, vulnerable, everything at one time is in there. It's just like the magic is right there when we like just surrender to it. And from there, life can, like, as I always say, I was like, okay, I can feel that something wants to be birthed out of me now. And I'm like, I've just been a part of launching a book that we have written together, 25 people. And that just came in like out of nowhere. I was like, whoa, me, and in English and now. But it was like, I just knew, like you just said before, okay, this is it. Something has arrived. Some kind of seed is starting to grow, and I just have to follow along, and when we go into that level of life itself, constantly life will push us out of the comfort zone, out on the edge. That's where life is. At the edge of the comfort zone is where everything is happening. And all those people who are like trying to, I just want to be in my comfort zone, forget about it. Then life force will come and say, hey, come on now, and people who are stuck in that zone, they are like just going down, down, down into depression and cannot see the meaning about anything and losing themselves, right? Because it's dying. When life is not flowing to bloom, then it is dying. It's like, yeah.
But it's also, it's like you said with the trauma, and like we have on like many levels discovered how much trauma is in the systems that have been built up, especially in the Western societies, and a country like Denmark, where we three come from. It's on every level. It's based on trauma and traumatizing each other. And it's also like this thing with, you have these ideals you have to fit into. So everybody has to be a rose. Like everybody has to be a rose, or maybe you can be another type of flower, but there's not room in the system for the dandelion. The dandelion is well, in Danish we call it ukrudt, which means like it's an undesirable substance. But a lot of us are dandelions, and we are here because dandelions break up the compacted soil, take out nutrients,
and so many healing powers.
So many healing properties. So we need the dandelions. We need all those things that were labeled as undesirable things in nature. It's like, what can be undesirable in nature? It's there for a purpose. And now we're all coming out and blooming, and we're helping healing the earth
and bringing to the table whatever we have to bring. And it doesn't matter what it is. And many people think that you need to be like perfect at doing something. You have to have all these degrees, all these educations, and
the system has to tell you you're okay before you can go out and speak up loudly.
And then you have to become famous before you're allowed to speak in public. And because it's been putting everyone up on a pedestal. But no. If you can just draw something or say something nice, that's enough. Just do that.
The latest, the last, like, what is it, 2 months or something, Mars and Venus has been traveling together up there for real. And that's like opened up for a lot of thoughts in me and talks about masculine and feminine. And you know what you talk about there is just the masculine energy in my eyes, how I see it. It's like the wounded masculine that for so many years about, you know, all the way back from the church and the patriarchy and blah blah, that talk, the wounded masculine thinks that the only way is to live from that ego place where we have to like earn our dignity to just be a person in this human form, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like the collective time that the wounded masculine is healing, you know, and all of us who have been living from this wounded masculine, because that's what we have been taught from our system, our parents, everything, we cannot do it anymore. So now the feminine within us is like the creative, intuitive, it's just this inner feeling of, no, I don't want to do that anymore. And no, even though that's what I've learned, I don't want to do that anymore. And earlier on, we could not, we didn't dare to say no because, but now it's just happening, you know?
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you just saw, head on over to whoselifeisitsummit.com/podcast, where you can find full-length episodes as well as in audio format, and we do a lot of other cool stuff. You can hang out with us and other like-minded individuals who want to create a world that works for everyone, and we do that on our platform where we can chat, and we have Q&As and exclusive interviews as well. So there's so much to get over there, so come on over and play with us.